Hello and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be ranking all of the Generation 9 Pokemon that were added in Scarlet and Violet. Context, this is pre whatever DLC comes out, pre whatever third game comes out, pre whatever anything. It's just the base game Pokemon, and as you can see on the screen, it includes all legendaries, basically any Pokemon that was in the game. So to kick off our ranking, we have the first starter Pokemon. We have Sprigatito. Sprigatito, you know, Sprigatito actually grew on me. When I first saw Sprigatito, I was like, it's okay, it's going to be a basic, cute Pokemon, kind of had like how Fennekin was. There's not a lot of personality there. But as Sprigatito evolves and you learn more about like what Sprigatito's whole gimmick is, you know, I think Sprigatito is a solid Pokemon. I've got to say it's in an A. So the next Pokemon we have is Sprigatito's evolution, and I think this is an easy S tier. It's Floragato from the Sugimori art. That is incredible. I'm just saying that this might be the best middle evolution that we've ever had. Maybe top 5. I just look at it. It's got a little yo-yo, and it's, I don't know, it's just so cute. And I don't know. I didn't use it. I used Fuecoco. I don't know. If I'm going for a second run through of Paldea, I'm definitely using a Floragato. I might not even evolve it to Meowscarada because I prefer how Floragato looks. I think that's an easy S tier. Then we move on to Meowscarada. Meowscarada, I think it's an A tier Pokemon. I'm hesitant to put it in S because I don't think it's as good as Floragato. And I also don't think it's as good as the other Pokemon that are in S. But I do think it's a solid design, and I think it does do what it sets out to do very well, you know, being like a jester sort of thing or a magician. It's one of those Pokemon that you can tell straight away that it's going to be a fan favorite in terms of competitive and just, you know, regular design. We have Fuecoco. I think he's an easy S. Just look at him. He is so cute and so dumb, and I love him. He's always been my favorite starter from this region, and I was always going to pick him. I think the way that they went with the design in his evolutions was very good. I think there was other ways they could have done it, like a big skeleton dragon and stuff, but I think the crocodile route was what a lot of people expected, and I think it pulled it off very well. Crocolore is gonna divide opinion, but I think he's a solid A tier Pokemon, to be honest. I do think he's on par with Sprigatito and Meowscarada. Now, a lot of people are gonna disagree with that because they think he's an awful middle stage, but I think there's a few things that you have to consider. When I first saw Crocolore, I felt the same. I thought he was so awkward. But when you look at the official artwork of Crocolore, he looks so cute and so stupid. He looks like he's about to eat like 8,000 melons in one bite. I don't know. There's just something about him. He has a little sombrero or a cowboy hat, but here's the thing: it's an egg because it hatches into what Skeledirge has as his microphone. This whole thing is so good, and Crocolore is an easy A tier Pokemon, and he could be an S tier Pokemon, but I do get why people don't like him. Skeledirge. Now, he's not staying in A. I think I'm going to move him to S, but I do think there's something wrong with Skeledirge's design. The fire is very awkward, and I don't like how it was done. I get that it's meant to be some sort of like hair design, because he's meant to be a rocker, but I think he looks a bit like a clown. I think the whole line are a bunch of stupid, big-mouthed clowns anyways, but I don't know. I think if it had like proper fire, it would have been an easy S tier design for most people. I just think there's something really awkward about how the fire looks in the 3D game. But I've got to put him in S tier. We have Quaxly. I still think Quaxly on its own is probably A tier, because I do think he's cute and I think he has a lot of personality. But his evolutions let him down in comparison to the other two. We have Quaxwell. He's okay. He's not as awkward as other starter evolutions could be, but I do think there's something about the design which I don't like. Quaquaval. I think he's solid at what he tries to achieve, you know, trying to be like a dancer and a peacock, but those feet are so ugly. Like, who went off on this decision to give him proper feet is just my question. So I gotta be honest, I feel like they should both be in D tier now that I look at them, but I'm gonna move Quaquaval down because I genuinely don't like him. I think there's something wrong with the design. I think it has potential to be good. Like, I want to like him because I think the idea is so good. I just think at the end of the day, it doesn't execute it to the fullest degree where it can be liked by most people. I think it's a very niche Pokemon in terms of design. Now we move on to Lechonk, and Lechonk is an easy A tier for me. He's a cutie. I wouldn't put him in S tier because I don't think he's an S tier Pokemon. He's not one of those Pokemon where I'm like, I absolutely love this Pokemon, but I would say he's just below that. He's a really silly little guy, and his name's Lechonk. And now we have the evolutions, which are Oinkologne. I gotta be honest, Oinkologne is very good too. Are they A tier? No, I think they're B tier. But here's the thing, I don't think they're fully B tier Pokemon. It's just I don't think they're on the same level as some of the other Pokemon in A tier. And now that I look at the tier list more, I gotta move Quaxwell down. Quaxwell's gotta go down there. Moving up next, we have Tarantula. Tarantula, I actually really like this guy. I think Tarantula is very, very good too. Just, he's such a cutie, I can't lie. And his shiny is so cool. We'll get onto ranking shinies at some point in a future video. But I think Tarantula is such a cute design. I hate spiders, but he does something, and it's just, I don't know, he's a cutie. He looks like an old man. I love him. I'm looking at the tier list more, and I'm going to move these guys down, I think. Spidops. When I first saw Spidops, I hated him. He's grown on me because he's a silly guy, but I do think he's still not a top tier Pokemon for me. I'm going to put him in C because I don't love him, but I do like him. I think he's an average Pokemon. Moving on to Nimble. I think Nimble's solid. I think he's a solid Pokemon. I do like him. I think he's cute. I think he's a cute guy. I don't have much to say about Nimble, to be honest. Lokix, though. Oh, Lokix is clearly an A tier Pokemon. Bug Dark, incredible typing. Second of all, he is so, I don't know, he's just so unique. Again, this is the one word I'm going to use so often, is unique when it comes to these Pokemon in this generation. Like, a Bug Dark, like, Power Ranger Kamen Rider guy also looks like a pocket knife. I don't know, I love him. I think he's sick. Pawmi, Pawmo, and Pawmot. Pawmi is okay. I'm actually going to put him below the other guys. Pawmo is F tier. Pawmot, I think he's fine, but I don't love him. I'm going to put him in C. But yeah, Pawmo is the most unnecessary Pokemon in this whole dex. Along with a second one, Pawmo sucks. Get him out of here. Pawmot is, like, he's fine. And Pawmi's okay too. But yeah, I don't love them. There's a lot of people that do love them. I only like their shinies, really. I think they're okay Pokemon, though. I think they're average. I don't really hate them. I don't love them, though. I do have strong feelings towards these guys, though, who are immediately in S. Tandemaus and Mousehold. If you guys have watched my Scarlet and Violet sort of review, you know I love these Pokemon. These are so unique. I don't know. People hate them because they're so simple. But I love that they're so simple, yet they're so unique. This is, again, I'm just going to say this. Generation 9 is the most unique Pokemon game in terms of the dex, because every Pokemon is unique, other than fucking Pommel and someone else. Yeah, I love those Pokemon. They're definitely S tier. They're probably my favorite Pokemon in the tier right now. But yeah, Tandemaus and Mousehold, incredible design. Fido, I don't care for too much. I gotta be honest. He's brought up by his evolution and he's shiny. Fido's actually decent for that reason. But we've got to put Dash Bun in S tier. Dash Bun, first of all, I love his gimmick with his hidden ability. Hard fire body. Fire type attacks boost his defense. I think that's so unique. I think that's so cool in the way that you can use Lava Plume on certain Pokemon when you're in a doubles battle. It's so incredible. I love it. But his design and his name, I'm such a fan. Dash Bun, and he's a pastry dog. I gotta hand it to him. That is a fantastic Pokemon. Smoliv, I gotta be honest, I'm in the camp that says that Smoliv is just okay. You know what, I'm gonna move these two down too, because I genuinely think these three Pokemon are just kind of like, they're average. I don't love them. Smoliv is overrated to me. I think I get why people like him. I'm just not a fan. I can't lie, I'm just not a big fan of Smoliv. And I think the same thing's got to be said for Doliv. I just think Doliv is just kind of kind of mid too. But Arboliva, I will put in the B tier. Again, this is just my personal preference. I get why people like them, and I do agree that they're really unique and an interesting concept. But for me personally, I can't put them higher than B or C because I don't love them. They don't connect with me as much. Now we have Squawkabilly, who, to be honest, is in the game for maybe like 2 seconds. Yeah, Squawkabilly is just unnecessary. I can't say I hate him because I think he is like a funky little guy, but they could have gave him a better design, like a black jacket. He's just mid. I think a lot of people are going to put him in F or D. I'm just going to say he's mid because I don't hate him. I just think he's so forgettable. He's just a Pokemon that I just don't care for, to be honest. Now we move on to some Pokemon that I'm going to put in a tier that you guys might not agree with. Nacli, Knucklestack, and Garganacl. Garganacl's an S, and I think the other two are an A. I actually think these Pokemon are some of the best rock types we've ever seen, just for how, again, unique they are, but also just they're really strong. I was using them for the majority of my playthrough. I think I swapped my Garganacl out for Baxcalibur because I wanted to use Baxcalibur. Garganacl with Rock Cure is just insane. But yeah, I think the designs are just great. Like Salt just makes sense to be a Pokemon. I think a lot of people when they originally saw Nacli were like, what the hell is that mushroom? Like a Mario mushroom in the game, okay, I guess. And then it made sense that it'd be a Salt Pokemon when you looked at it more. And then it evolving into what many people are calling a Minecraft mob, and then a massive salt pyramid. I gotta give it to him, it's unique. Now we move on to Charcadet, Armarouge, and Ceralooge. I'm gonna put all three of these guys in B tier, because while I personally don't love them as much as the ones above it, I do think they're solid Pokemon, and I get why I do like them, and I like the designs, and I think it's a good addition to the Pokedex, and that's why I'm putting them in B tier. But I can't put them in A tier because personally for me I didn't use them, and I don't love their designs as much as the other Pokemon above it. I don't like Tadbulb. He's too small to shiny hunt. I don't like him. I really don't like Tadbulb, and we're getting to another Pokemon very soon who is in the similar mold to these two unnecessary Pokemon that are in F. Bellybolt though, I'm going to put Bellybolt in B tier. I like him a lot, but I didn't personally use Bellybolt, so I don't have like a connection with him. But yeah, I like him. I think he's a solid design too. Now we move on to Wattrel and Kilowattrel, who I'm going to put Wattrel in A, and I'm going to put Kilowattrel in S. I think Kilowattrel is one of the coolest birds we've got. A lot of people are going to disagree. I've seen that sort of sentiment online. But I think Kilowattrel is a very, very solid Pokemon. I'm struggling on where to put Kilowattrel because I want to put him in S, but I don't know if he is an S tier Pokemon. I think I'm getting blinded by the fact that I used one and I really enjoyed it. So for now, I'm going to stick it in A. I think I'm going to stick it in A. I'm going to keep Kilowattrel in A. I do love the design, but I don't think it's on par with the S tier designs. Maschiff, I don't like. I've got to be honest, I don't like Maschiff at all. I get its gimmick as meant to be it's an ugly Pokemon, or like there's something like wrong with it and stuff. I just don't like it at all. But Mabostiff is a solid Pokemon who I would put up in B tier. The story revolving around Mabostiff is very cute. I think a lot of people can relate to the story that was being told in Scarlet and Violet with Mabostiff. So I think a lot of people do have a really good sentiment to him. We're moving on to Shroodle, who I think is C. I think he's mid. A lot of people that I've seen don't like him actually, because you think he's unnecessary. I agree, but I do think he's a little cutie. Massive eyes. I like him. When I first saw him, I was like, what? And Grafaiai is B. I don't think he was fully used to his full potential, but I think his design's really, really solid, and I think he's up there in B. Now we have Bramblin and Bramblegast. See, here's the thing. I think if there was one of these, it would be fine, but because there's two, I'm going to struggle to put them in any tier above F, because I do think they're unnecessary. I do like the one Tumbleweed Pokemon, so what I will do is I will say the better design for me is probably Bramblegast. So I'm going to put Bramblegast in C, but Bramblin can probably just get out of there. But in the same turn, I could just do like this but I think Bramblegast is better on its own than Bramblin would be on its own. So for me, Bramblegast is C tier, mainly just weighed down by the fact that it wasn't made to be a single stage Pokemon. It was made to be a 2-stage Pokemon to fill out the decks, and for me, I can't get with that. I don't like that. Toedscool and Toedscruel. I gotta be honest, these guys are sick. I might move them up. I think they're A tier Pokemon. When I first saw Toedscool, I was like, what the hell is that? Why is this tentacle got legs? Why is he standing there? And why is he running like that? You see Toedscruel, and it just makes sense. And the shiny for Toedscruel is so good. It's one of the only Pokemon that I've shiny hunted in Scarlet and Violet so far. Toedscool is so good. His running is so stupid. But as you can see with how my ranking has gone so far, little stupid guys have one gimmick I'm a big fan of. Crocolore, Tandemaus, Fuecoco. Oh, they're just so stupid and I love them. Now we move on to Cloth, and I think Cloth is a B tier. I think he's better than the C tier Pokemon. I'm just saying that because he's stupid. Again, I think he's a goofy little guy. I don't have much to say about Cloth, to be honest. He's just there. I like him. His cry's stupid. His shiny's sick. And I'm a fan. I like him more than I dislike him. By the way, anyone looking at this list is going to be like, what the hell? Why is Cerulege and Armarouge in the same tier as fucking Cloth? Capsakid. I gotta be honest, Capsakid. Oh, I don't like Capsakid. I think his design is ugly. I'm not a fan. I try to like him. The 3D model doesn't do him justice. I don't like him. I like the concept, but I'm not a fan of Capsakid. Scorevillain though. Scorevillain is an A tier Pokemon. Whilst I agree with the sentiment that it doesn't look like a full evolution line yet, it needs a third Pokemon, I think Scorevillain is chef's kiss for what we've been expecting for a fire grass type. A hot pepper, just incredible. I do like it. The name Scoville's a villain. It's good. I think it's a really, really good design. We have Rellor and Rabska. Now, I have seen the Twitter sentiment very recently for my boy Rellor. People hate him. I think, again, he's a silly little guy who is in B tier. I like Rellor. Can we appreciate this guy? He is rolling so much material for miles, and then he awakens. Inside, he becomes a holy divine creature. Oh, and also, just anyone that hates Rellor, his shiny gets a texture change. It becomes golden. It's not just golden poo. No, it's a golden texture. Please, if you haven't, I'm going to put it on the screen in 3, 2, 1. There you go. That's the wrong way. That's also the wrong way. There you go. Golden Rellor texture. Incredible. How can you hate this guy? Immediate F for this Pokemon. What's it called again? Flittle is my least favorite Pokemon from this new generation. I think it sucks. And it is very bad. Espafra is a solid B tier though. I think it should be a standalone Pokemon or have a better pre-evolution, because Flittle doesn't even look like it should be evolving into Espafra. I get if you know after the fact, like, yeah, okay, I can see why it evolves into it. In the game, I had no idea what Flittle had any relation to Espafra until after the fact of looking at the Pokedex. I had no idea. I just kept seeing Flittles and I was like, well, this doesn't evolve into anything yet. Well, I wonder what it evolves into. Oh, it's a Spafra. No, useless. I hate Flittle. It's awful. I gotta be honest, Tinkatink is B tier. I think it's a very cute little design. I'm gonna say it's C tier though, because I don't think it's as solid as the other two, but these two are going straight into S tier. Tinkatuff and Tinkaton, top tier designs. Big hammer on a little pink dude, incredible. Pokemon, you have the park with the S tier designs. I've got to be honest. The S and the A tier designs are some of the best Pokemon you've ever made. Next up we have Wiglet. Now Wiglet is again a silly little guy who I'm gonna put in B tier. I think Wiglet is solid. When the leaks came out and said that we were gonna get a divergent sort of Pokemon where it's not Diglett but it looks exactly like Diglett, I was very upset, to be honest, because as a lot of Pokemon fans are, we can just jump the gun and be upset at something like this. But I do think it's solid, and I do like the idea. Now that I have seen it in action, I do like it. Wugtrio, I think, is the same. I think they're solid. I do like them. I don't love them, but I do like them, and I think they're on par with the region. Like, it makes sense. And for the first attempt at Divergent Pokemon, other than Toedscool and Toedscruel, very good job. It made a lot of people who were apprehensive about it enjoy it. Bombardier. I gotta be honest with you, Bombardier's gotta be D tier. I like the concept of a stork that throws big rocks. The execution, when you look at it and think about it, it's very ugly. So you've got Finizen, who I think is cute. You've got Palafin, who I think is cute, but I think they're just average Pokemon. And then you've got Palafin Hero Mode, who again, I do like the design. Again, it's unique and it's an interesting concept, and I do like it. But for me, I was a bit disappointed that we weren't going to get like a proper dolphin Pokemon. For the most part, I do like them. Now we have Vroom and Reverum. Okay, I don't hate these Pokemon. There was a video that I watched and I can't remember who it was by, so I'm sorry. But they said that this needs to be more of like a alien or like a Pokemon thing, because right now it kind of looks like just a car, right? Don't get me wrong, I don't hate that, but like have more tentacles on it, or you know, stuff like that to make it look more like a live car. Orthworm, I think he's a B tier. I think he's silly, I think he's goofy, and I gotta be honest, I like him. I like him dancing, I think he's cute. Silazar, I'm gonna get hate for this, but I don't like him as much. I don't think he's C tier. I think he's a stronger design than that, but for me personally, I don't love him. I like the idea. He just looks like he's missing something to me, which is obviously solved by Koraidon and Miraidon, but no, not for me. I don't like him as much. Next we'll do Wooper, Paldean Wooper, who I think is a solid A tier Pokemon. Paldean Wooper is solid. One of the first Pokemon we saw, and a really good regional variant. And now we have a regional evolution in Clodsire, who I think is also an A tier. A lot of people prefer him to Quagsire. I'm not sure if I necessarily prefer Clodsire to Quagsire, but I do think it's a solid design. Tauros is a B tier, just mainly because I wanted more for him, because I love Tauros, and I was disappointed with the outcome. I think it's cool, a black bull, it makes sense, but I was disappointed with the outcome of these forms, to be honest. The water type and the fire type form, I gotta put them all in B, just because I was disappointed by them. I can't lie. Okay, now we have Glimmet and Glamora. Glimmet is probably C tier. I'm gonna put Glamora in B. I think it's solid. When I first saw it, I thought it was going to be a Laleep convergent evolution or regional form, but you know, it's a cute little Pokemon. I do like it, and I think it's, again, I'm going to say it again, quite unique. We have Greavard and Houndstone. So I think these guys are both B tier Pokemon. Some amendments to the list. I moved Wooper and Clodsire down because I think they're the top of B tier but not A tier. And I'm going to keep Greavard and Houndstone in B. I like them, but I don't like them as much as I thought I would in context with the whole dex, because I think the rest of the dex kind of overshadows a lot of Pokemon that are in B tier. Like the 2 tiers above it, or the stuff that I think about before B tier. Flamigo gets a lot of hate. I think Flamigo is fine. I don't think Flamigo is in an F or D. I like the design. When I first saw it, I saw a pool flamingo, or like a flamingo that you have in your garden. A lot of people just saw a normal flamingo, and I was like, well, that doesn't look like a normal flamingo to me. But the boxing glove idea and the fighting, I don't know. I think it's okay. I think it's an average design. It's one of those Pokemon that are like, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, it's Flamigo, it's okay. I'm not gonna use it, but you know, Nice. Cetoddle and Cetitan. Cetoddle can go in B, but Cetitan is one of the Pokemon that I will probably use in a future playthrough. I love Cetitan. The shiny is so nice too. I'm a big fan of Cetitan, I can't lie. I was a fan when we first saw it, but to be honest, I just didn't have a place for it in my team. Veluza is a Pokemon which I think gets a lot of hate, but I think it's an A tier Pokemon in terms of design. This is important. I'm not ranking a lot of these Pokemon based on competitive. Veluza looks like it should be fast, but it is not. And that is the biggest downfall of this design. Because the design is super cool, super sleek. I love it, but it is not fast, and it looks like it's fast, and when it swims around in the game, it's fast. So why is its speed stat so low, Pokemon? We come up to the Donzo, which I think is another A tier design. Double battle prowess with Tatsugiri, who I'm also going to be putting up into the A tier. These two Pokemon, you know, just fit into the game so well, and one of my favorite things, just in general, is massive things in water. It's a fear of mine, but it's also one of my favorite things. So having a giant Dodonzo just below you, it just adds so much to the game. When you first get the notification about the Titan Pokemon being a massive sea creature, I was just immediately captivated, and I had so much interest. So yeah, and Tatsugiri's cute. It's got 3 different forms, and they all do different things in the double battle. I just think that both of these Pokemon just fit each other perfectly, and I think they're solid. Now we have Annihilate, who I think Annihilate is another A tier Pokemon. You know, the Pokedex entry is about getting so angry that it can die, and then it actually does die, and it becomes this ghost, insane attacking Pokemon. It's just so good. I think it just takes Primeape and brings it to another level, and it's an A tier Pokemon for me. Farigiraf, for the same reason, is also A tier. I think this generation did the regionals and the divergence and the post generation evolution sort of thing very well. I think most of the Pokemon are top tier. As you can see, they're all B or A, and I think it just means that they've done a solid job with it. I think the Pokemon they've decided to evolve again, like Primeape and Girafarig, are 2 Pokemon that genuinely did need it. Now we come up to the Dunsparce, who I'm going to put in B. I think if you're a Dunsparce fan, you're disappointed. I do think it's funny that it's just Dunsparce but bigger, and I think it's such a Dunsparce thing for that to be the case. And lastly, for the evolution Pokemon, we have King Gambit. I'm going to put him at the top of the B tier. I think King Gambit is an interesting guy. I think he looks cool, but I haven't really used him. Anything that's in B tier and above is solid, and I like them. In C tier, it's a lot of average Pokemon who I might like, but I don't think they're as good. And then anything below C is the bad Pokemon. So from C and up, basically you're looking at solid. B and up, you're looking at Pokemon I actually do like. So I would say King Gambit is at the top of that sort of tier, but I don't think he's as good as the other A Pokemon that I have. So in my opinion, I think he's B tier. We have an S tier Pokemon immediately. Giant Tusk, I think, is one of the best Paradox Pokemon, if not the best Paradox Pokemon. He's so imposing, he's so cool. He does Donphan justice, and I think he's so sick. Now we move on to Screamtail, who I think is a B tier. I think Screamtail is solid for a Paradox Pokemon, but I don't think it's on par with Donphan or the tier above it. So I think it's in that solid tier where I do like it, I do like its concept, but I don't love it to the same degree as the tiers above it. I'm going to move Kingambit up, I'm going to move Armarouge up, and I'm going to move Cerulege up. And I think I'm happy with that. And I'm going to be putting Brute Bonnet in B, because I think the design is nice, I do like it, but I do think it's a little bit awkward, which is the point of the Paradoxes, but I don't think it does it. I don't know, there's just something awkward about it. Fluttermane is probably an A tier. I like it, it's a very good competitive Pokemon, and I think it takes the Mischievous idea and does it way better. So yeah, I'm going to put it in A tier. I think it's better than Screamtail, I think it's better than Brute Bonnet. Now we have our second Paradox Pokemon that's going to be an S tier. We have Sliverwing. Volcarona, has always been sick, and now it is a fighting bug type, I believe. Ah, I love it. It's so cool. It's so cuddly and so it's so stupid. It's a big bug guy that fights. A big cuddly teddy bear bug guy. I don't know. He's up there with the other Pokemon. I think Sliverwing is just so good. You can see how happy I get talking about these Pokemon that are in S tier. Sliverwing is so fantastic as a design. I'm a big fan. I prefer it to the other Paradox Volcarona by a big margin, to be honest. I love Silverwing quite a lot. Sandy Shocks, who I'm also gonna be putting in B. I wasn't so sure about Sandy Shocks, but I think it's grown on me because he's such a funky little guy. You know, when I first saw it, I was like, ugh, what the hell? Magneton got a Paradox? You know, I'm with it. I like it. It's funky. He's got hair. He's vibing. Now we move on to the other games Paradox. This is the Violet Paradox, and immediately I'm going to be having to put Donphan in C. I think he's got an interesting concept, but I don't think it's been executed as well. Like his face, I don't like his face. No, I don't like it. Iron Bundle is another S tier. This form and its shiny form are so amazing. The fact that its head pops off. Just, he's a funky guy. Again, this Pokemon, this generation of Pokemon has so many funky little dudes. And I think they're all in S tier. Now we'll have Iron Hands. Okay, I'm going to move him to the top of B. I like him way better than normal Hariyama though. Now we have Iron Jugulus. I gotta be honest, Iron Jugulus is C. I think it's a poor Pokemon. I think it's poorly designed, and I'm not a massive fan of it. Iron Wings though, the Volcarona one, I didn't used to like it because I thought it was kind of lazy, but I think the idea that it's a big solar panel or like a satellite is actually quite cool, and yeah, I like it more than I thought I would, but it's definitely no Sliverwing. Iron Thorns, I do like it quite a lot. I think the shiny form is really good too. It looks like the Pokestar Studios Godzilla Tyranitar. Yeah, I do like it. Frigibax is a C tier. I think he's mid, but when we move up into Arctibax, he's an A tier at least, and Baxcalibur is also an A tier. I think as a pseudo for this region, I do like him. I like his name. I like his signature move, and you know, I used him on my team, and I think that might be why I like him so much. I don't think he's quite S tier, but I do think he's a very nice pseudo. I don't think I can put him in S tier because when I do look at Baxcalibur, he does look a bit off. There's something about him which I'm just like, you're missing something. So for the legendary quotient, I'm going to split it 2-2 because I think Chi-Yu and Mo-Chien are S tier for sure. I think they're very solid Pokemon, and I think they're above anything in A tier, I want to say. Now we move on to Roaring Moon, who I think again is an A tier. A lot of people are going to have Roaring Moon in S tier. I'm not a massive fan of how the colors look. I think something looks a bit off about the design. So for me, it's not an S tier. I do think it's one of the best Paradox Pokemon in the game, but I don't think the design hits me as it hits other people. And then we have Iron Valiant. Is Iron Valiant S tier? I'm going to put it in A tier, I think. I think it's just at the top of A tier. This is the thing. I think A tier and S tier are very close. I'm going to say that Iron Valiant is probably A tier. It could be S tier, but just right now how I'm thinking, I don't love Iron Valiant and Roaring Moon as much as other people, so I wouldn't necessarily say they're S tier for me. For that same reason, I think I'm gonna go back on my decision, and I'm gonna put Chi-Yu and Mo-Chien also in A tier. Now we have Gimmighoul and Goldengo, who I think are both A tier Pokemon. Goldengo is a silly dude, and Gimmighoul is also a silly dude. The 1000 Pokemon didn't let us down, I think. I know a lot of people don't like him. I think for the 1000 Pokemon, he does fit it. I think he makes sense. Of course, everyone would have loved the 1000 Pokemon to be this impending doom sort of thing, like the original dragon or something like that. But for me, it makes sense, right? Goldengo makes sense for being the 1000th Pokemon, and I like the concept where you have to get 999 coins and then he evolves. And Gimmighoul's just a silly little dude, I can't lie. I'm a fan of them. Now we move on to the last two Pokemon, and it feels like I've been recording for forever. I'm going to start by putting Koraidon in S tier. Koraidon is the better of the two legendaries. It's the best legendary that we have in Scarlet and Violet, and its shiny is immaculate. And then for me, Miraidon is honestly, I don't connect with Miraidon as much as other people, so I'm gonna put in B tier. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I'm gonna stick to my guns and I'm gonna put Miraidon in B tier. I don't love Miraidon as much as other people. I think Koraidon's way better, and I'm a Scarlet fanboy, not a Violet one. So here's the full tier list, guys, if you want to have a proper look at it. It took me about an hour and 10 minutes to record. I'm now going to have to edit it. My voice is dead, but I'm glad I got this out. And I am now looking at the tier list and I don't agree with half of it. So this is what always happens. But this is my current tier list for the Scarlet and Violet Pokemon. The S tier is definitely correct. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and hit that notification bell for all of my future videos notifications. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.